Hi, I'm Megan Lee with CCM Magazine, here with Jody and Chris of Love and the Outcome. We're sitting in the studio. We're excited to have you here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Thank you for
How
having
guys
us.
doing?
We're good.
I heard you guys singing as I walked in. You sounded amazing. I'm kind of sad that we don't have a full studio audience to experience this with you.
Ooh,
How's it feel
that sounds
being
fun.
able to play some music live now?
I mean, this is great. This is more audience than we've had for the
Oh,
last
is
2
it?
years.
No, I thought that maybe you've
We've
been
just been
out and
playing.
about.
We've been playing in front of our phones for the last,
You guys
300
haven't
days.
gotten back. You haven't gotten totally back on the road yet.
We have a little bit. Yeah, that was, we just played
So many phone
online for so
stream
long.
worship nights. It was sort of fun though. We did worship Wednesday out of our house before it flooded, all during the pandemic. And if you go back on our Instagram or Facebook, our kids are like, "I'm gonna play drums now. I'm gonna be in the shot now." And I felt like it was sort of actually life-giving to us. It's what got us through a lot of the pandemic.
You have a family band now.
Yeah.
Created from
We do.
home worship.
And they're getting
It's
big enough to
true.
be roadies, so take some of the pressure
They can
off
actually
me.
carry some things.
Oh, yeah.
Is that how that
Yeah.
happened?
It always divulged though into I need chips. I want to watch Bluey. We're like, oh, this is when it goes from cute to like, come on, Love and the Outcome. Get your stuff together.
So talking about, obviously you guys live in Nashville. You did mention the flood, but you also mentioned that up until the flood, you guys were really going through the pandemic. You want to take us through the roller coaster of the timeline of the last few years for you guys?
Oh man. Go for
Sure.
it, babe.
We were on a date at a Thai restaurant, and the NBA shut down, and the next day our tour shut down.
Yeah.
And we got one show out of that tour, and then we didn't play in front of an audience for a year and a half after that.
Oh my goodness. So that was back
Yeah.
in March of,
Yeah.
what year was that, 2019?
I know. What is time?
What is time?
Yeah, and we're Canadians, so our family is in Canada. We haven't seen, there was a stretch of almost a year and a half without family. And then our house flooded right in the middle of all that. So just talk about a comedy of errors is the wrong way to say it, but you almost found yourself like, is this real? Because how does this many bad, hard, traumatic things happen to one family in 1 year? And you see those things on the news, but it feels distant and far away. And then it happens to you and all of your neighbors on the same street. And the hardest part of it, because a house is a house, but a home is where you're safe and where you're known and seen and loved. And I think our street has become that for us. We'd go on tour and get back, and our sweet elderly neighbors, Susan and Harold, were waiting for us and keeping track of our house and making sure everything was okay. And now we're all displaced, and it's been almost a whole year, and the kids miss biking in the cul-de-sac with their neighbor friends. And it's people. Home is people. And so it's been rough. Really has been rough. But never have we grown more. And it's a small consolation prize some days because you're like, I'm sick of growing. Done with it.
Pain, the growing pain.
At
Yes.
first,
Stop
the
now.
boys were excited because they would leave equipment in the front yard. So one day there would randomly be a skid steer or a giant pile of sand, and
Yeah.
they'd just be like, "This is amazing!
This is awesome."
How did you know that I wanted this?"
We got a call from the daycare the week the flood happened. Well, just want you to know that your kids are asking their friends to play Flooded House. And we're good with it. We just want you to know. And so at first I was like, oh my gosh, is that okay? Is that, as a parent, you hit those points where you have no idea what you're doing. And you're just like, I don't know. And then talking to a counselor friend, she's like, play therapy is the best therapy for kids. You might just want to join in. So I'm like, okay. So we've cried a lot. We've normalized hard and pain, and it's in our songwriting. It's all over our new album. It's all over our shows on stage now that we're playing again. It's all over our social media. I feel like it's this beautiful chance to go, if your life is hard and you're a Christian, you're not doing it wrong. You're doing it right. Life is hard. Faith can be tricky.
I really wanted to ask how you feel this journey has stretched you, not only with your music, your creativity,
Yeah.
obviously your connections in your community, but also with your relationship with God and how maybe that intertwines. I mean, that's a lot to ask of. It's a lot of
Yeah.
things that you guys went through in the last few years, and so I'm not asking for you to be all the way out on the other side of the tunnel like
Yeah.
bright, shiny rainbows, but
Right.
is there anything that really sticks out to you as far as how you've grown with God and how it's affected your creativity?
Definitely learning a lot about patience.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think we're alone in that. I think a lot of people
Yeah.
have experienced that in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And we, went through a season of not just our house kind of not being able to live in our house, but we had to sell our bus. We had to sell a few other things that just to keep going.
Yeah.
And it became really apparent, like on social media, that it was like, yeah, that's me too. That's me too. Like everyone's we're all in the same boat,
Kind
dealing
of
with this stuff.
united in suffering, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes growing up in church, we're made to feel, or I was made to feel like faith meant like your full life now, your best life now, like on top of the world, when that's really not how the gospel defines it at all. We lose our life to find it. And that's nice for someone else. But when
Right.
it's you, you're like, oh, this hurts. And it does. Like there is a cost to following the Lord faithfully through the hard times, because you don't really want to. But that's what got us started. It was like, okay, yes, Lord, I'll follow you. That was literally how it all got going, and from gig to gig, selling CDs out of the trunk of our car. And it's like, well, we can't stop now, or what kind of testimony is that? Like a testimony is a test a lot of the time, right? We go through these tests. And right now we get up on stage and everyone sort of wants a neat and tidy bow, and we just don't have one.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I think the testimony is that God's faithful, not that our life is fixed up or that our house is fixed up. But so we just keep walking. Every day is full of a new adventure, but yeah.
Well, obviously these types of things stretch you, and they make you perhaps learn the stuff that matters the most to you. Is there anything, though, as you've gone forward, that you are surprised that you're willing to leave behind?
Oh man. Yeah. So our trailer got stolen last week off our driveway. I know, it just sounds like it's not real.
Don't get me. I'm knocking on wood for you guys.
I know, I wasn't even going to say it, because you get to a point, and maybe people listening can relate, or maybe you can relate, where you start to actually feel shame for things that are not in your control. You feel like because your life went here instead of here, it's my fault. It's my fault, and I'm embarrassed about it. And so I hit that point when Chris called me from the driveway. He dropped Milo at school, and him and Ziggy went to get the mail from our flooded house. We still have to check on it all the time. And he's like, babe, I parked the trailer, like the trailer's not here, but it was here last night, right? And I'm like, yeah, what do you mean the trailer's not there? And that was sort of the leftovers from anything we saved from the house. It was the boys' bunk beds that they loved, and my locket from my grandpa, and like all of our personal things, which will mean nothing to the person, unfortunately, that stole the trailer, and lots of merch. And in those moments, it's interesting. It's not that it doesn't hurt or that you're not angry, but it's almost like the more suffering you go through, the more letting go becomes normal. And it was a moment of going, okay, this stinks, but I think we both know deep in our gut that we're going to be okay. And I think that was an interesting moment for us to be like, this hasn't completely destroyed us. Like, yeah, we're getting stronger, and that's good.
Sounds like a lot of fortification, which, if there's any consolation, makes me feel personally like there's a lot when you're fortified in this way. There's a lot more that God's going to ask you to give. So are you excited to come out here with new music and try to pick up what you have, the remnants of the life that you had, and bring what you have, whatever that is, and offer it to people across, I guess, across the nation, if you're going on tours as far as that. So is that something you're excited for? Or?
Yes,
I mean,
100%.
I would say, other than being able to watch our boys grow up literally 24/7 for the last 2 years, getting new music ready has been the most exciting thing.
Oh, we're really old school. Like, we grew up playing in churches and clubs and everywhere in Canada. It's make your own adventure. And so we live for the live show. And so you write the song to get to sing the song. That's how we are. A lot of songwriters aren't that way, but that's the magic for us. So this is so fun. And we have this funny way of combining really hard stories with really danceable music, and I don't know why that is, but
It's a great juxtaposition. It sounds like a lot of what you've just been describing through the last year.
Yeah, maybe that's true, because you just got to dance it out. You got to worship. You can't stop doing that, or you just stop.
Do you guys usually write as a duo, or do you bring other friends from around town, or maybe from out of town into it?
Yeah, we usually co-write, but we always write together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so special.
It is. It's the only time we fight, too, which is so funny.
It's
but
loudly agreeing, right? That's
right. There you go. There you go. And usually, like, we like to say we're fighting from the same side. Like, we're fighting for this song, you
Right.
know, together. But, like, you're a bass player. I'm an ego-driven lead singer. So, you know, the clash is real.
We struggle to create the song, but then the performance therapy is
There you
the end
go.
result.
There you go.
There
It's
you
the
go.
birthing process.
Yeah.
Well, probably why you guys have so much heart in the things that you do. Is there anything about this new music that you want people to take away in particular?
Yeah, I think, honestly, this song being called I'm Not Lucky, I'm Blessed, it's for anybody who feels sort of like they've been left out of blessing. Like, wow, I'm not where I thought I'd be or should be at this age, at this stage, or this is what the ultimate woman looks like, married with kids in a 2-car garage. Like, those are not the ultimate. Like, the ultimate is really just living from that centered place to go, like, I've got at the center and I'm living life as my true self. Like, I'm showing up as me, you know, and that's blessing. When we're connected to God and each other, that's blessing. And so I hope everyone feels invited. And I don't know that we've ever said that about the songs we've written, but after going through suffering, you see people suffering more. And you can miss that so easily when your life is fast moving and fast paced. But we came to a halt with the pandemic, and then we went through a lot of suffering, and now we see differently. And I hope that's reflected, like, to anyone listening to the songs to go, wow, I'm invited to this dance party, you know?
I love that so much. And it sounds like you guys have a beautiful journey ahead of you. I hope that it only goes up from here. And
Yes.
I'm 100% certain that God is fortifying your gift. Thank you so much for still choosing to share it with the people and invite them into the party.
Yes.
I'm so excited. Is there anywhere that you want to tell our listeners to
Yeah.
go to check out the new stuff? I heard you talk about
Yes.
Instagram a little bit. Are you guys
Yeah.
bopping on and off of there? Do you do lives or anything like that?
We do. We were on it so much during the pandemic, and then I think we're like, okay, like my son says, back the check. You know, real life matters more.
Your son sounds cooler than me.
Yeah, I know. We're like,
They're both cooler than me.
like, how on earth? Who told you that? We're stealing that.
Our 4-year-old walked out in a Beatles shirt and his jeans on backwards, and then he put, like, was he wearing a leather jacket too? It's
And
like,
Batman socks. We're
how
like,
are you? Yeah.
Who taught you? We did not teach you
You
this.
win. You win the day.
Yeah, can I copy that outfit? But yeah, we're on our social media as ourselves. We don't kind of let that part be in anyone else's hands. So yeah, all of the social media is just at Love and the Outcome, spelled out. One
Awesome.
word.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you guys so much for joining us. Again, check out Love and the Outcome by going on all of the platforms online. And like I said, good luck going into the future, guys. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
joining us
Thank
in the
you.
studio.
Thank you so much.